Alrighty, hey nerds, so before we begin this video where we talk about refinement... Wait a second, what is this? Oh, I needed to get my login bonus. I did not get that today. I should probably go do the voting gauntlet later. Anyways, before we begin, I do have to say one thing real quick. If you are the letter B as enlisted down there, you are, in fact, still needing to come and get your winnings. I feel like I'm playing Sesame Street here, but yes, the letter B, if that is you, contact me, sagemaster15@hotmail.com. So, yeah, that'll be a fun thing to talk about, okay? Still feel like I'm a little bit there, but before we begin the refinement system, I just want to warn you guys again, when it comes to refining, do not inherit unless you are, refining on the character you want. That includes both evolution and, of course, refinement as well. So, if you're trying to build a character and want to refine a weapon that is different, inherit it first. Just saying, okay? Got that squared away? Alright. Okay, so, right now the Hero Armory priority list is pretty much almost done, but I keep getting this question, and I'd rather get it out before, anything too terrible happens, and we need to talk about other things. So, first up and foremost, when it comes to weapons, I oftentimes get asked the question, what weapon should I prioritize when it comes to building up a character? What would you suggest for my first weapon? Well, there's a lot of options, but I'll go with the easier ones for you, okay? More often than not, let's see if I can't find him in the list here. I know he's up here. Ah, there we go. There's, characters like Lucas. Lucas is probably one of the better examples of this, but he comes with the Killer Lance, and there are a lot of killer weapons out there. And I don't mean that as in like, oh, wow, that's a killer weapon. I mean, no, actual killing weapon, killer weapon, whatever you want to call it. I can't actually put slaying or killer in the title because it'll be demonetized, but, we're just going to go with it. So, why does this matter? Well, because now you can take that really weird weapon that was kind of an odd choice and evolve it up into something that's been really kind of rare up until this point. Slaying Lance was only available on Nephany, and now you have the option to refine it into a Slaying Lance, which means that he does not have to be stuck in his little bit less might, a little bit more, powerful weapon. And even from there, you can actually do something like, let's just get Nephany up here. You can take that and evolve it even further. That's the idea. So why does this matter? Why is this such a big deal for anyone who wants to use a weapon? Well, because, simply put, slaying weapons are, at least I feel, are some of the easier weapons to make compatible with a lot of characters. For instances, when we were talking about our good friend Lucas here, he's one of the characters that more wants to hunker down, play to his strengths. Give him quick repose, give him defense, and then something like Ignis, and he will go far. That's the idea, because he can trigger that pretty quickly with Slaying Lance. He'll have more might to it, and of course the cooldown. And then of course you can also play to his strengths as well, give him more defense, or a little bit more might if you decide to when you actually refine the weapon. I don't think you would want to go resistance, but I mean, I've seen people try to, I guess. Anyways, but that's the general idea. And honestly, slaying lances, slaying weapons in general, tend to fit a lot of characters really, really well. Because while brave weapons are still pretty predominant in a lot of it, mostly because the option to double is still pretty crazy, there are a lot of characters that can really make use out of slaying weapons because of its accelerated cooldown. Again, we just talked about Lucas, but even characters like Fjorm could technically take advantage of it. Just to give you an example, we did have an Ogma in my arena last night who had a Miracle on him, and he was able to trigger it almost every time, if he really wanted to. I mean, there are so many options, and now it's a lot more viable to get them. Perry has Killer Lance, and there's characters like, I believe, Hawkeye. Yep, Hawkeye has it. Baruka has it as well, and so does Sheena. These are all options you can do it with. So when it comes to characters you should probably upgrade, well, that's more up to you. But just note that a lot of characters here can predominantly get a good advantage, at least somewhat, out of getting a slaying weapon if you decide to go with some of the slower characters who may need, something a little bit more of an option to trigger their specials. Because, let's face it, every character here usually they want to trigger their special. That's what the option is. They want to trigger that as quickly as possible and do a lot of damage. Unless you're, of course, running a horse emblem team and you're just kind of attaching Aether for that additional bonus of points, I guess. You know, to have a bit more burst for your buck. From there, well, I've already said that unless you don't have dragons or aren't interested in dragons, dragons are also a good option, because the ability to just pick and choose what defense or resistance you're going after are probably some of the easier options out there. It's just something that a lot of dragons have accessibility to, especially if you have Lightning Breath available. Light Breath is kind of cool too. We've already kind of gone over this in a, Hero's Armory, so if you want to go check out the Hero's Armory on dragons and how in-depth that can go, feel free to do so. Honestly, when it comes to weapons you really want, I still say slaying is probably some of the better. I'm pretty sure Niles is the one that has the killing bow. I'm not too certain if it's great for certain characters like that, but if you happen to have, a Halloween Jacob and things like that, and you don't feel like going guard bow, slaying bow works pretty well on him too. All sorts of options are available to you. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be, stuck with them, but it's a simple option. It's something that you could go with, and it doesn't require any real simple investment into making yourself effective against certain armor, say armored units, or what is the other type? Cavaliers or flying units. Even though flying units is just that you bring a bow. Simple enough. But yeah, it's really just up to you at this point. But the simplest fact I can think of is that most characters will run very well off of a slaying lance. It's just simple as that. Lucas works really well. I've seen parries work exceptionally well with that. Even Hawkeye, I ran into a Hawkeye in Arena who was running it. You're probably going to be seeing a lot more slaying weapons in the future because of it. Because now, when you upgrade a weapon, just to give you an example, you can just pick what stat you want. And that's something that's a really great advantage for these kind of weapons, is because now you just select it and you go. Lucas, you can go defense. Amelia, I could probably go into speed if I wanted to and give her even more speed. Now she's going to have 39 speed for no reason. Or you could go with something like might or defense if you feel like it. And that's the fun thing. I've seen people run Ira with a slaying weapon because she can do it fast enough. Granted, I still think her weapon's probably some of the better, options out there because, well, it's built for her. But I've seen it happen, and I've seen it work fairly well. I'm not sure what else I could tell you there, guys. Some people might go, well, what about things like the Halloween, or not the Halloween, actually Halloween as well. Halloween and summer weapons. Well, just so we're clear, you can kind of notice that they haven't changed much of the additional effects other than just adding might and things like that, which is cool, but having certain things like a Fury build already built into your weapon, it's really a different option, and not something I'm sure a lot of people will go for. At least I don't think so. Pretty sure yep. Oh, hey, look. That's great. Still has that effect and didn't even get upped at all. And then there's all sorts of other ones out there that you can really work with, but I still say slaying weapon is probably your best bet for your first starter. Or dragon. Dragons are cool. That's pretty much all I can really think of, unless you want to go with a healer who can do certain things. Like, here is my Priscilla. She has pain. She also, of course, has enemy can't counterattack, which is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. That's a good option there. And then Discord's going a little weird there, but yes. Anyways, just go slaying. Slaying is an easy option if you're trying to get refinement done and you don't have a character you're not too sure to go with. Either dragons, slaying, or maybe, if you want to experiment with Berkut's bow, Berkut's, I feel like Porky Pig, Berkut's lance, and that one guy, what is his name? Setsuna and her assassin's bow, changing that over to guard bow. It's a pretty interesting one. There's also Cupid's arrow. There's a lot of weapons here, but and it can be really confusing, and a lot of it takes a lot of time to really think, but I still say the easiest option for a lot of characters is slaying weapons. If you're trying to refine it and you don't have very many characters to work with, chances are you have a killer weapon somewhere, and chances are they'll work just fine. So there you guys go. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go work on Heroes Armory and Heroes Profiles. See you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching. Love you all of you nerds, very much. See you soon.